Hello, I'm Sam. I'm a massive football fan and wanted to share my regular opinions with you through this podcast. Episode 1, I'll be talking about the World Cup, the Premier League season title race, hot takes, bugbears, but first, I'll start with a simple question. Why do you hate Arsenal so much? Now, I'm an Arsenal fan, and I get it. We're just going to focus on this season for a start. So Arsenal have won the Premier League, we lost the Champions League, and I just want to focus firstly on the style of play. I do genuinely feel like I understand and maybe even see where the disconnect has come from between fans and rival fans, and why Arsenal will do something and rival fans, any football fan who isn't an Arsenal fan, may see that and think they're entitled. I don't really get it. What's all the fuss about? That kind of thing. But let's focus on this season for now. We'll start with the style of football. It's not been great. I think the Arsenal fans will be the first to tell you that it's not an entertaining game. But that's what Arteta has done. He's seen where you need to start. Much like Gareth Southgate with England, I think there's a few similarities there where Gareth Southgate decided on how to win the Euros and the World Cup by not conceding and figuring the rest out. At least that's what it felt like. And that's pretty much how it feels as an Arsenal fan. Defensively secure. We conceded 7 goals in the Champions League. PSG conceded 23 in total by the end, which is an amazing record. David Raya got the Golden Glove for the Premier League and for the Champions League. But that doesn't mean the football is interesting. And as a tangent, I really hope Arteta sees, now that we've won the Premier League, that we can defend. That's great. Now let's maybe invest in attacking and become the ultimate sort of total football guys. That's the hope. The expectation is just to win the Premier League again. But anyway, I can understand why fans would see this style of play and feel like maybe we don't deserve to win the league because of that. But as another question, do you think Portugal in 2016, I believe, deserved to win the Euros? Because if you remember their style of play, they got lucky at times, but that's what you need to win these competitions. Their style of play was awful. It was boring and it was defensive, but it got them to the final and it won them the Euros. So, there is something in that. I agree. We need to liven it up a bit. It has been the worst title race in some time. Another thing I wanted to add about not really understanding Arsenal is I think about the things like when Odegaard took a photo of the photographer and how that ruffled Jamie Carragher's feathers and probably a load of other people, and just how much we were celebrating. But I don't think people realise. I think what you need to understand with Arsenal is they've always been up there or thereabouts, but we did come 8th a couple of times in a row. And I remember at the time thinking, yeah, that's about right. We're not great at the moment, and other teams are better. And then we came 5th. Before we came 2nd again and again and again. And then, the first season we came 2nd was where we got the reputation for being bottle jobs, bottlers. Where I think the fans feel like maybe Arsenal fans are entitled comes from the bottling itself. Because we came 2nd so many times in a row, we're going to start to feel like maybe we should win the Premier League because we're there or thereabouts consistently. No one else came 2nd 3 times in a row, and Liverpool won it and City won it. And City were brilliant and deserved to win it when they did. But I think the thing that you've got to remember is and this is just me as my Arsenal head speaking, but when it comes to watching Arsenal and us winning the Premier League and the Champions League maybe one day, but getting to the Champions League final, all that kind of stuff, I always remind myself, hey, we were coming 8th. We were pushing for Europa 5 years ago. So for me, it's a humbling thing to remember where we came from. We didn't come from 8th. We came from Premier League winners 20 years ago, or however long, 22 years ago. But I think the thing that I kind of want to express to rival fans is maybe the reason we're over-celebrating certain things is because, well, for one, we haven't done this for a while. But also just that we've been so close so often. And I think another point that I wanted to make as well, if you see Arsenal celebrate hard, particularly against City, is we didn't beat them for like 7 or 8 years. It took a very long time to beat them, to the point of, I remember just every season kind of seeing City away and thinking, okay, how do we, that's 3 points dropped. That's all that is. So to finally be on their level and to be able to beat them every now and then, Arsenal 5, City 1, I celebrated that like it was the World Cup final because it meant so much. And I think that's the thing that you need to remember sometimes about certain over-celebrations, certain entitlements, just because we've been there for such a long time. And I'm so proud of Arsenal. And I get it. I get that it's been really boring to watch this season, maybe the last few seasons. But please let me know, why do you hate Arsenal? Have I said any of the reasons? Just let me know in the comments below. Okay, let's do a little season review. So it was probably the worst title race in Premier League history? Maybe? It was boring. I get it for the neutral. Obviously, it was the most stressful season of my life, definitely. But for a neutral, I'm sure it was so boring. City and Arsenal dropped so many points. The final total of points, I was looking over the last 10 years, and just Liverpool and City of a few years ago, Klopp's Liverpool, Guardiola's City, absolutely destroy 2025, 2026 Arteta's Arsenal in points. I think Arsenal probably would have come about 10th if you had just all the league leaders all in one table with their points. I absolutely love, of course, that it was, in the end, City's to win. And they bottled it. And there's a wonderful poetry in that. But I really hope that next season we'll get much more of a title race. But I have no idea who it's going to be. I think about the most settled clubs, because that's where I look for when it comes to next season's title race. Who are the most settled? Arteta is now the longest serving Premier League manager. Now Pep's gone. So there's unsettlement. So there's an unsettled camp with Man City. There's an unsettled camp with Chelsea, with Alonso now in charge. There's an unsettled camp with Liverpool, with Iriola looking like he's going to join them. Aston Villa for the title? They're very settled and they'll be pushing top 4, even though they're in the Champions League. I'm sure they'll be there or thereabouts. I wanted to talk about Tottenham as well. Tottenham have come 17th again for the second season in a row. And I wanted to ask any Tottenham fans who are listening or watching, or any football fans at all, where should we expect Tottenham to come next season? I don't think it's realistic to hope that you'll get top 6 next season. That doesn't make sense to me, because it's happened twice in a row, particularly the last season, looking like you're almost relegated. On the final day you could have been. What needs to happen to make you a big top 4 club again? And what is the expectation next season? Is it top 10? Because that feels really low. But then again, kind of like I was saying earlier, with Arsenal coming 8th for a few years in a row, that was our level. That made sense. And I don't think Tottenham coming 17th is their level. I think they should be finishing higher than that. But who knows? They could make some really good signings. I like Senesi. I like Andy Robertson as signings to shore up the defence. It kind of needs a bulldozer through the whole squad, really. But I just want to focus on the expectation. Where should we expect Tottenham to come next season? I can't put my finger on it. Please help me. Let's talk about the World Cup. It's coming up. It's going to be 48 teams. It's going to be a mess. I don't. So there's so much that's a mess about the World Cup, because in the news they're like talking about all these World Cup hotels, all the host cities. Hotels are getting refunds. They're trying to sell tickets. The prices are crazy. Was it like to get from Manhattan to New Jersey to get to the stadium, the New York Giants home stadium, the MetLife? Is it like 1,000% higher train tickets, stuff like that? It's so stupid. There must be a PR person with FIFA who's just like, you can do this, but it's not going to look good. And then someone being like, it's okay, we'll be fine. Like, it's just because they're going back on their words so many times. So here's a few reasons why I think it will be a mess. For a start, the competitiveness. I can't see in any of the fixtures in the group games, there's no real group of death. There is one, but we're sort of forcing it. But there's no giant teams who are facing each other. There's no Germany versus Portugal. There's no Spain versus England. There's nothing like that, because they're all spread out so much. And how satisfying will it be to watch Spain versus Cape Verde, Brazil versus Haiti, Germany versus Curacao? I mean, when you talk about Curacao, we're talking about, are they 83rd? Let's figure out where Curacao is. 82nd in the world versus, where are Germany these days? 10th. That's quite low for them. That's probably about right, maybe. I don't know, Morocco are in 8th. What are those scorelines going to be? How much of a mess is it going to be? So how good are the quality of these matches going to be with the quick maths, the 8 extra teams that are in, the 12 extra teams that are in? Are we going to see some really drab rubbish games because you're sort of shoehorning in all these extra teams, some who have never been to a World Cup before? So we'll see how it plays out. Another thing that I'm not sure how much they've thought about, and I don't know how much this matters in the grand scheme of things, TV revenue and just general TV audiences, the viewing figures for each game. Well, they absolutely love the viewing figures for the World Cup final, so I'm sure it is important to them. But look at the kickoff times for these games. I mean, pretty much every single day is going to be like a 2 a.m. There's going to be a 2 a.m. game. I'm pretty sure Australia are playing at 5 a.m, but that makes sense because Australian time, they can watch that. But Europe are really not going to watch any of those games beyond 2 a.m, apart from Scotland, Haiti, which is at 2 a.m, I believe. That'll be brilliant. But what are the pubs going to do? I don't know. It's such a mess, and I really just think it's going to be a shame, because I love watching 4 games a day for 2 solid weeks. But we're only going to watch half of that, because no one's going to stay up 2 a.m. No one's going to wake up at like 5 p.m. every day and be like, right, next 12 hours I'm good to go. At least not many people. And I love football, but I won't be doing that. I might do that. I wanted to go through the new rules, the new laws that are being enforced in the World Cup. I just think, again, mess is really the theme. Throw-in countdown. You have 5 seconds to take a throw-in. You have 5 seconds to take a goal kick. You have 10 seconds to get off the pitch if you're being substituted. I just don't think that's going to be enforced. I don't know if I'm used to the Premier League where, they'll give away a corner if you don't take the goal kick in 8 seconds. I think it's 8 seconds. And the refs are so lenient because no one takes 8 seconds to take a goal kick. So I don't know how much this will be enforced. My number one thing that sends me 0 to 100 in football is consistency. So which refs are going to be like, yep, 5 seconds. Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, done. Okay. And what others are going to be like, 5, 6, 7, hurry up, 8, 9. Okay, it's fine. I just feel like that's going to be a consistency nightmare. And if there's one thing that gets me angry, it's inconsistency. What else? Off-field treatment. If you go off the field, you have to stay off for 60 seconds. I believe the Premier League had it at 30 seconds the last season, which never worked. There's just a lot of common sense that is just completely devoid in all of this. So when it comes to 30 seconds off the pitch or 60 seconds off the pitch, it should be down to common sense. Has the player gone down to waste time? I thought that's why it was brought in the first place. Correct me if I'm wrong. But why is it that you can see someone who's gone down with a genuine injury, and regardless of whether they're bleeding from their head or genuinely rolling around in pain, do we say, you give it 30 seconds because just in case you're faking? There should be some common sense elements in there because it's just so obvious sometimes that they're not faking, they're not wasting time, they're not doing this on purpose, they're genuinely in pain, and what they get for it is to stay off for 30 seconds, now 60 seconds. That makes no sense to me. Make it make sense. Please comment down below to make it make sense. Players covering their mouths is now a booking? A red card? No, not just a booking. It's going to be a red card. That's amazing. Is that just the Vinicius Junior rule? Because, of course, someone got banned for saying something homophobic, I believe, under their hand. But apparently they are allowed to do it if it's just to, I don't know, teammates, or if they're just happy and saying nice things. But I don't know how you police that. I don't know what this means. I do get it, but I never knew why they cover their mouths in the first place. Us people back at home watching the cameras being able to lip read, is that so we can't see what they're saying because they're swearing? Are they swearing? Are they talking tactics? Are they talking things that we just shouldn't hear? I never really understood why you cover your mouth in the first place, to be honest. Please, again, educate me if I'm just missing something super obvious. VAR are just sort of, again, just crowbarring their way more into football. Corners can be checked, but you have to be really quick. So I've got here, if VAR can make sure that a corner has been correctly awarded, but this must be done quickly and before the restart. So there's a thing in American football where if someone makes a mistake, but if you quickly make a play, then it can't be reviewed. So would it be a case of, this might not have gone out for a corner, but we could score from here quickly, take it quickly, and then that's it. You can't check it because we're already in play again. How does that work? I hope they've thought this through. Surely they have. They get paid to do this. But that said, I'm really excited for the World Cup. Every World Cup, you always get a few historic moments that will just live on forever. 4 years ago, the most historic, most memorable thing is the World Cup final. The best World Cup final probably in World Cup history so far. Who knows? But that's just something. My personal highlight was Argentina versus the Netherlands, when they started to get very feisty, and I can't remember which Argentina player it was, but they absolutely yeeted it into the Netherlands bench. Didn't hit anyone, but the Netherlands bench rushed onto the pitch, and Virgil van Dijk ran up to the player who just smashed it into the Netherlands bench and just chest bumped him onto the floor. Oh, it was so brilliant. I just love it when justice is served. He just deserved some sort of punishment. And that was just the perfect punishment. Absolutely, you're taking a yellow card every time. Happily. To chest bump someone to the floor. That was just my personal highlight. I forgot one more rule that I wanted to talk about is second yellow cards can be reviewed. So if you're already on a yellow card and you get a second yellow card, but that one might not be a second yellow, that can be reviewed by VAR. My issue is, what if the first yellow card wasn't a yellow card and you're not allowed to go back? This is just it's a concern that we talk about VAR coming in for clear and obvious errors. That's what we wanted it for. That's what I'd like it for. And the less VAR intervene, the better the game of football is. I think. That's my personal opinion. But it just sounds like they're trying more and more to get involved to see, can I help here? Can I help here? And it will just slow things down, and it will just make things more contentious, and it will just cause more problems, bring up more questions than it has answers. And that's a concern of mine. And I bet my bottom dollar that that's going to be something that we're going to see. There's going to be second yellow cards where the commentators will be like, well, the first one wasn't, so what's going on? And then the other team will be like, well, no, why are you reviewing this? This is definitely a second yellow card. The other team will be like, well, no, the first yellow card wasn't really a yellow card. Why is the second one being reviewed? No, that's fine. No, everything's fine. Everything's fine, and everything's not confusing. And I'm not going to be sitting there at home thinking, why is this happening? I am, spoiler alert, I am going to be sitting at home thinking, why is this happening? England are third favourites in the World Cup. I think that's about right. I think our group qualification was amazing. We didn't concede a goal for a really, really long time. And usually there's some sort of teething problem, and usually I don't enjoy watching England, and there have definitely been already some matches that I've watched where I've not enjoyed myself, including one in person. I watched England versus Uruguay at Wembley, and, it wasn't very interesting at all. But I just think we'll get the job done. I don't think we'll get the job done. That's not true at all. I think we'll lose in the semi-finals to Argentina. No, I don't. I do think we will get to the final, but I don't know if we'll win. My money is on France. I think France will win. I think their squad is just insane on paper. And because they got Didier Deschamps, who's already won it as a player and a manager, I just think he's the guy who will steer France to victory. But let's not talk about France. Let's talk about England, for goodness sake. And I want to talk about Reece James. Reece James, I don't know about Reece James. I think he's a good footballer. I just don't know, because he's so injured all the time. He has one appearance for England in any major tournament. And he's been injured for basically all the tournaments that he's been available for. He's been unavailable because he's been injured. And the one that he was available for, Trippier and Kyle Walker were there in their prime. So obviously we're going to use one or the other. But now we don't have Ben White, who could have been used. I'm not sure. But looking at our right backs, I really think we could have done with Ben White. Reece James will be solid, and I think I have faith in him. and that is it. I think I have faith in him. I don't know if I have faith in him or not. He's only played one game at a major tournament for England. If he gets through 6, no, 8. 8? Is it 8 games now? If you win the next 8, you win the World Cup. But if he stays fit and plays all these games, if he's a starter, which we expect him to be, unless Konza plays at right back, maybe that'll be the play. But I just want someone to tell me whether this is right, whether he's good or not. Because I've got some stats, if I can throw some stats right into your face. He's missed 69 days this season. He's had 3 injuries. He missed 14 games in this season just gone. Before that, he missed 111 days. Before that, he missed 207 days. Before that, he missed 152 days. Before that, he missed 88 days. So that's the last 4 seasons where he's missed a significant amount of days and games because he's so injury prone. And now he's here. It's like, yeah, you're our guy. You can be our starting right back. Although maybe Konza. But I don't understand. Is he going to be good? Hopefully he'll get some good friendly time these next 2 games. And we'll see a bit more of getting him to be settled and see what he's good at. But I just, from an Arsenal point of view, I don't watch a lot of Chelsea games, so I don't know. But also from a general point of view, he's been so injured. I have no idea how good he is and how secure I should feel about him at right back. Please let me know in the comments below if I should just chill out. Reece James is good to go. If I don't need to worry at all because Ezri Konza is going to be our right back anyway, or if everything I've said is wrong, Tino Livramento, carry us forward. By the way, I had a thought today. Do you think Bellingham might have a similar career to Paul Pogba? I was watching some highlights earlier today, as I seem to do every day now, of France winning the World Cup against Croatia in 2018. And Paul Pogba was in the squad. Obviously, he's fallen off a cliff because of personal reasons and also just quite injury prone. But the arrogance of the player was wonderful and it made him who he is. But I look at Bellingham and I think, maybe even worry about the arrogance of Real Madrid and what that's done to him. And I remember England versus Slovakia 2 years ago. Was it 2 years ago? When we were 1-0 down until the 95th minute and Jude Bellingham scored an overhead kick and made it 1-1, and then we went into extra time and we won. But his celebration was running around and saying, who else? And I like that, but I don't at the same time. I think there was a lot of media pressure before Euro 2022 on Bellingham to lead us to glory. It was like, you're the guy, just as there probably is right now towards Kane, because he's just had his incredible season. But I worry about the arrogance of him, and I remember certain moments where he'd go down for a foul. It wasn't a foul, but he'd stay down, he'd look at the ref, he'd be annoyed. And at the time, it was Gareth Southgate's England, and it's a team game, and England were the team. And Bellingham sometimes, for me, stuck out like a sore thumb. A little bit. And if you can get him clicking with all these different players, and that's the thing with Tuchel as well, is he went for no ego. That's what he said. He said he's chosen players who will fit into his system, and he's leaving the ego at the door, which is interesting because Bellingham, I guess you can't leave Bellingham out, but Bellingham is an ego, I think. So it's interesting to see how you deal with that. And if you calm him down and just show him it's not about you. The pressure isn't just on you as well. The pressure is on all of us. See this as a team. I don't know how much of a problem that will be, but I looked at Pogba and I saw potentially a similar player in Bellingham. Anyway, let's do some goddamn hot takes. Oh, that's a hot take. Hot take number 1. Mbappe will never win a Champions League. He was at PSG with Messi and Neymar. And the wonderful thing that I used to love about PSG was at some point they'd implode. They'd be in the quarterfinals of the Champions League, sometimes even the semi-finals. And they'd be a goal, maybe even 2 goals down, but not out of it. And at some point something would snap and they'd lose their heads, and there'd be an arrogance about them that's just, I'm entitled and we shouldn't be down, and I'm going to start hacking people and I'm going to start losing my head. And then someone would get sent off. And that's just generally what happened every season, guaranteed with PSG for a while. And Real Madrid won the Champions League in 2024. And then Mbappe left to go to Real Madrid. And PSG won the Champions League in 2025 and 2026. So I just feel like this hot take, which I don't think is that hot. I don't actually think this is totally out there. Mbappe seems to have an ego, and wherever he goes, he takes that ego with him. And now Real Madrid are almost the new PSG of, at some point they're going to start losing their heads because they feel entitled, they feel like they should be winning and it's not their fault. There's an arrogance about them, and that's not a good thing. And now Jose Mourinho's gone there and he said he doesn't want to sign egos, he wants to sign players who will work hard. So that's like a lot of your squad. What are you going to do, just get rid of them? Are you going to sell Mbappe? I don't think you are, buddy. You're just going to have to work with it. But I'm fascinated to see what will happen next. But yeah, hot take, Mbappe will never win a Champions League. Hot take number 2. USA won't get out of the group stages in the World Cup. This is a hot take because they're the host nation. Host nations generally do very well for a start. Also, in their group, it's not that difficult. They have got Paraguay first. I'm going to go 1-1, Paraguay. Australia, maybe they'll beat Australia. Or maybe it's the reversal. They'll beat Paraguay, draw with Australia, and lose to Turkey. That is an easy group. It's a very easy group. And the USA should definitely come at least second in that group. But I just have a bad feeling with Pochettino. Already we've seen that he's in talks with AC Milan. I just think I understand the reasoning for getting these talks done quickly so that AC Milan can be like, right, we've got our guy, we can just chill out now. But I just think the timing isn't good. Do that after the World Cup. Like, just get as far as you can go. But then I can already see the story of USA going out early and some people saying, oh, where did they go wrong? Maybe Poch's head was in Italy with Milan. I also think their performances haven't been great. Defensively, they look bad. I watched the highlights of, I think it was Belgium. They lost to Belgium 5-2 a few months ago now. But they were so bad at defending. It was crazy. But Belgium were just ripping through them so easily. And I was actually doing some research earlier about how well they've done since Pochettino's taken over. And you got the Nations League, the CONCACAF Nations League. Semi-final loss to Panama. And then they lost the third place game to Canada, 2-1. They got to the final of the Gold Cup, which is pretty good, but they lost 2-1 to Mexico. And then pretty much every other game they've played have been friendlies. So there's no competitive football in there. And I always think for a host nation, there's a lot of expectation on you, but you don't get to play competitive football for a while because you're already in, so you don't need to qualify. So I've just got a feeling that USA may just be underwhelming, and I feel like fans may start to turn surprisingly quickly, and they will go out in the group stages. Hot take. Also, this isn't necessarily a hot take. Hot take number 3. But I've mapped out our path, and here's what I think. England will play Brazil in the quarter-final. If England beat Brazil, which I think they will, England will play Argentina in the semi-final. If England beat Argentina, which I think they will, England play France in the final. I think, on the other side, if everything goes on paper as planned, France will face Spain on the other side of the groups. I think France will beat Spain. And then I think England will face France in the final and France will win. I can't put England to lose another final. But there is a similarity there with Arsenal. Second, knocking at the door. England have to be regarded as the top 3 best nations in the world in the last 6-8 years. Is that right? But England have been like semi-finals, finals. We've got to the final twice. Been in the semi-finals once. And 4 years ago, we went out in the quarterfinals, but to France, who got to the final. So it's understandable. I don't know. England are an unknown to me. I think we'll go far. But I can see us slipping up just because it's overdue. And a lot of my logic in football is based on what's overdue. It's coming home. It's not. It might. Oh, do you know what? That's really annoyed me. Bugbear of the week. Okay, here's what's going to happen. I'm guaranteeing this for you right now. England have 2 friendlies before the World Cup. Their first game is Croatia in the World Cup. One of those games we won't play particularly well. The media, or your friend, and everyone in between, will say something along the lines of, England are not going to win the World Cup if they play like that. People will just overreact to a performance. Even if, let's say, England beat Croatia 1-0 and we don't play particularly well. There definitely will be people in this country who will say, we're not going to win the World Cup if we play like that. And the thing I implore you to remember is that we're not trying to win the World Cup today, or against Croatia, or against Panama, or against New Zealand, or against, I've already forgotten who else we're playing in the friendly. The friendlies will be whatever Tuchel needs them to be. He doesn't need us to play well. He will want to work the system, get people used to it. If it doesn't look great, then we will complain. We will think England aren't going to do very well at the World Cup. But it doesn't matter what we think at all. Remember 4 years ago, Argentina won the World Cup. What was their first game? It was a 2-1 loss to Saudi Arabia. So just remember to not get overexcited, because there will be people in your life or online that will get overexcited and say England are not going to win the World Cup. I think that's absolutely everything. I think I've spoken football to death, and it's been absolutely wonderful. I've got a lot off my plate. I hope you have too. Please leave any arguments below in the comments, and I will respond to them the next time I podcast. But please, I want to start a dialogue. I want to debate. I want to chat football with you. Thank you so much for listening, for watching. See you on the next one. If you enjoyed this podcast, please like, please subscribe, please tell your neighbours, please write it down on a piece of paper and sellotape it to your local coffee shop window, and please join me next time.